Hey guys, today we are going to move past area and perimeter and into the world of volume. Volume is once again a measure of a shape, but this time is a little bit different. Now we're looking at three-dimensional shapes, and volume is the amount of space that is contained inside of the shape. So if you can imagine like a milk jug, how much milk can we fit inside of that? Or if we have a swimming pool, how much water can we fill up inside? How much water would it take to fill that up? It's the space inside of a box, and today we are going to be looking at only rectangular prisms. Rectangular prisms is just a fancy way of saying a 3D rectangle. And we have a formula which should make this pretty straight on simple. And the formula to find the volume of a rectangular prism is simply we take the height of the item multiplied by the width multiplied by the length, and that will give us the volume. And as we've talked about in the past, multiplication is commutative. The commutative property of multiplication states that it does not matter what order we multiply numbers in, we will get the same product regardless of that order. So it doesn't matter which number you start with, as long as you multiply the height of the object by the width of the object by the length of the object, that will give you the volume, or the amount of blocks that it can take to fill up the inside of that shape. So if I look at this picture right here, how tall is my rectangular prism? Well, it's off the side right here, and we can also count. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 high. So to find the volume, I would say that the volume would be equal to 4 times, well, what's the width? How wide is it? It is 3 wide, so times 3. And how long is it? It's 5. So once I have my three measurements, all I have left to do is multiply those. So I'm just going to move from left to right. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 times 5 is 60. And it's 60 what? It is 60 centimeters. So it's centimeters. And if you guys think back to what we've done so far, if we were doing perimeter, we would say our answer would be like, say, this is just a completely made up random number, but maybe like 4 inches. And say we were doing area, our answer would be like 4 inches squared. Because we are talking about a three-dimensional object, for volume, we are going to put a little 3 at the end of our units, and we call this cubed. And we've talked about this before when we did exponents in my class. We had nicknames for some exponents. 2 meant squared and 3 meant cubed. Why does 3 mean cubed? Look at the shapes that are inside that are making this object up. They are cubes, so my answer is going to have to have the exponent of 3 on its units, because that represents cubing that unit, because it is a cube. So this tells me I can fit 60 centimeters, I can fit 61 centimeter cube blocks into that rectangle. Great, let's do another one. Here I have a Rice Krispies box, and I want to find the volume of it. Well, remember that volume, I'm going to use this time, volume is the same as length times width times height. So all I have to do is multiply the numbers together. So I will take 10 times 12 times 3. And if I just go across from left to right, 10 times 12 would be 120. And 120 times 3 would be 360 inches, because that's what it's labeled as, and because this is a three-dimensional object, and we're finding the volume of it is 360 inches cubed. Once again, I'm just multiplying the numbers together. Let's look at a die. This one's a little bit harder, because we've said that volume equals length times width times height. This only has one measurement. But if you guys think about what makes a cube, well, it's a three-dimensional square. In other words, all the sides are the exact same. So its width is 5, its length is 5, and its height is 5. All of those would be 5. So it would simply be 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25, possibly. 25. And 25 times 5, well, that's like having 5 quarters. So we have 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents, $1, 125. 125. It's centimeters, and because we were finding the volume of a three-dimensional object, our answer would be 125 centimeters cubed. So if you guys notice, all I'm doing on all of these problems is just taking the numbers and multiplying them by each other. That's it. Just multiply, multiply, multiply. Here I have a 2-movie collection, Blu-ray version of Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. And it says to find the volume of that Blu-ray box. Well, volume equals length times width times height. So I'm going to take 2 times 6 times 8. 2 times 6 is 12. And 12 times 8 is 96 inches cubed. Hopefully this is making some sense to you guys. It really is pretty straightforward. You just take the 3 measurements you have, your length, your width, your height, and you multiply them together. I didn't want that there. All right, let's make it just a little bit harder. This says find the missing measurement. And if you guys notice, I have the volume, and I have 2 measurements of my rectangular prism. I'm just missing the other side. So let's think about what our formula tells us. Our formula tells us that volume equals our length times our width times our height. We know our volume is 240 because it gives that to us in the problem. We don't need to find the v this time because it's 240. And that's going to equal, what 2 numbers do I have? I have a 10 and I have a 6. So it'd be 10 times 6, but I don't know what my other number is going to be yet. How do I figure that out? Well, let's take it one step farther and actually multiply the 2 numbers together. So I'm going to have 240 equals 60 times some number. Now this is where you guys would think, wow, what number can I take 60 by? Multiply 60 by and get 240. If you guys don't know, think of this. We can rewrite this right here. I can rewrite it. I'll draw a little arrow right here. I can rewrite this as a one-step equation. 240 equals 60. And I'm going to use x for a variable now. And I taught you guys this, or maybe one of our ISU students did. We said we go to the side of the variable, and we do the opposite. My 60s would cancel out, and my zeros cancel out. What's 24 divided by 6? X would equal 4. And let's make this inches. Sorry, guys. I just realized that this says inches, and that says centimeters, so this should say inches as well. That's my fault. 4 inches. And if you guys notice, I did not cube that. I only cube it if that is my volume. This was not a volume. This was a measurement, one of the measurements of my rectangular prism. So it was not cubed. It is just plain old inches. All right. Last one. Volume, as always, equals... Sorry. Try to move that. Volume equals length times width times height. My volume is 180 times 5, oh, nope, I lied, 180 equals, because that's my volume, 5 times 4 times some other number. So I multiply the numbers that I can, so I have 180 equals 20 times some number. Well, what number times 20 equals 180? If not, just take if you don't know, take the two numbers you have and take 180 and divide it by 20, and it ends up going there 9 times. So my answer would be 9 inches. Once again, that's not cubed because it's not my volume, it's just a measurement of one of my sides. So 9 inches is the answer to that one. I think we can do one more right here. It says the world's largest chocolate bar is a huge rectangular prism weighing more than a ton. The bar is 9 feet long, 4 feet tall, and 1 foot wide. How many cubic feet of chocolate does it have? Well, we know volume equals length times width times height. So I would just take 9 times 4 times 1. If I multiply those numbers together, it would be 36 times 1, or simply 36 feet cubed is my answer. All right. Hopefully this made some sense, guys. I will also post these notes onto Canvas. So please look over them. Please also watch the videos I post. Please do your assignment. And as always, if you guys have any questions, please contact me either via email or Canvas. Please do your work. Have a great week. Enjoy the last couple weeks of e-learning, and I will talk to you guys next week. See you guys.